For much of the modern era, success followed a familiar formula. Whether in business, philanthropy, politics, or institutions, outcomes were shaped by two primary inputs: know-how and capital. Know-how determined the quality of decisions. Capital determined their scale and durability. Reputation mattered, but mostly as a byproduct, something that followed achievement, visibility, or association. It was rarely treated as a primary driver of outcomes in its own right. That model no longer holds. The reason is not cultural or generational. It is architectural. The systems through which credibility, authority, and legitimacy are now assessed have fundamentally changed. In a world increasingly mediated by artificial intelligence, reputation has moved from the margins of outcome making to its center. Know-how and capital are still necessary, but they are no longer sufficient. Today, outcomes increasingly require a third input: reputation, not as image or publicity, but as a machine-interpretable signal of trustworthiness, relevance, and substance. The most important shift is not that artificial intelligence now produces content. It is that AI increasingly interprets the world on behalf of decision-makers. Research, due diligence, risk assessment, and contextual framing are being delegated upstream to systems that summarize, rank, and synthesize information before any human engages directly. The first encounter with a person, organization, or idea is no longer a document or a conversation. It is a generated abstraction, a probabilistic portrait assembled from what systems can retrieve, reconcile, and verify. In this environment, reputation is no longer just a social phenomenon. It becomes a technical one. Artificial intelligence does not encounter reputation as narrative, intention, or tone. It encounters reputation as pattern. Repetition across sources. Consistency across formats. Corroboration across time. Authority is inferred not from prominence in a single channel, but from convergence across many. Credibility is determined by the density and stability of signals pointing to the same underlying reality. This exposes the limits of legacy reputation thinking. Traditional reputation management evolved in a media environment shaped by editorial gatekeepers and linear distribution. Influence depended on persuading a small number of human intermediaries to transmit a narrative outward. Artificial intelligence weakens that model. Generative systems are designed to distrust singular sources. They cross-reference claims, test consistency, and evaluate behavior across contexts. Media has not disappeared, it is now one signal among many, and often not the decisive one. As a result, the standard for reputation has become far more demanding. Visibility alone is insufficient. Narrative coherence is insufficient. Even traditional authority is insufficient unless it is continuously substantiated. Reputation must now be demonstrable rather than declared, not just a story told, but a body of evidence that survives machine scrutiny. This has major implications for governance and leadership. If reputation is now a primary determinant of outcomes, it cannot remain a subsidiary function of marketing or communications, nor be outsourced to legacy media-focused agencies. In an AI-mediated world, reputation is more fundamental than legal strategy, capital strategy, or transactional execution, because all of them presuppose legitimacy and trust. For decades, reputation followed outcomes. Now, outcomes follow reputation. Reputation determines which actors are surfaced, recommended, trusted, or quietly excluded, often before any human judgment occurs. That is why reputation increasingly belongs at the right hand of leadership itself. It must be stewarded deliberately, by those who understand how credibility is constructed across machine-readable systems and how it compounds over time. In a world where machines increasingly mediate understanding, reputation is no longer an output. It is an input. Know-how determines what is possible. Capital determines what is scalable. Reputation determines what is trusted. And in the age of artificial intelligence, trust is foundational.